So this is a live Q&A with current Network 75 students as part of National Apprenticeship Week. My name is Laura Davis, so I'm going to be hosting this Q&A this evening. And I'm joined by three fantastic Network 75 students today who are going to tell you all what it's about, what it's like being a Network 75 student. So we're going to start off firstly by introducing you to the students, and then I'm going to put forward the questions that were pre-submitted on the booking form to our students. Okay, so now I'm going to hand over to the students to introduce themselves. So firstly, Aisha.
Hi, my name's Aisha. I'm currently in my 4th year out of the 5 years in the part-time degree apprenticeship. I'm currently studying business and management, and my host company is Mummy Building Society, and my current role there is as a robotics process automation developer. So yeah.
Thank you, Aisha. And Angel?
Hi, my name's Angel. I am in my last year out of 5 on Network 75 scheme. I am working for Stride Triglawn Architects as a BIM coordinator.
Thank you, Angel. And finally, Kira.
I'm Kira, and you're probably going to get it a lot, but me and Angel are doing the same course, work for the same company, and also do the same job role. So yeah, and the name of our course is Construction Project Management.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. Yeah.
Thank you, Kira. Okay, so going then to our pre-submitted questions. First question we've received is, do you have any tips for the interview with the university? So I'll come to you first, Kira.
I think the primary tip going into any interview is to do your research on the company who is conducting the interview for you. Have a look at their values. They like you to reciprocate what values they have as a company. Ensure you know the background of, how they've got to where they are in their current position, and just show real keenness to understanding how the business works before going into the interview.
Thank you, Kira. And Angel?
Yeah, from what Kira said as well, you sort of want to tell them what you want out of your time at that company and what you want to achieve, why you want to be there, and just be yourself and show off your skills. If you've got skills and, different things that make you who you are, you need to tell them and just, show off a bit. Yeah.
Thank you, Angel. And finally, Aisha.
I would say that they tell you that the interview isn't really formal, so it's slightly informal, so you don't need to wear business attire, but dress smartly, so kind of business casual, I guess. Have a look through your application again, have a read through your personal statement, key bits of experience that you can say that can help you balance maybe the work-life balance of studying alongside doing work. Any work experience is good. Volunteering opportunities are also great. If you had anything in your Welsh back, utilize that. And one website that I would recommend that really helped me was called Barclays Life Skills, and you can use that to help you understand how to do loads of different types of interviews, because businesses might have different interviews. If they have a panel interview or a one-on-one, that's going to be slightly different. And with the university, it's usually 1 or 2 people from Network 75 team, and they're really friendly and they really try to put you at ease. So yeah, just go in feeling confident. They're going to be really, really nice to you, and yeah, just remember what you've written in your application and you should be good to go.
Thank you, Aisha. So moving on now to our next question, and I'll come to you again, Aisha, if that's okay. So to answer firstly, so can you talk through the recruitment process and how it was for you, and when did you when did Network 75 and the company inform you when you got your first interview?
Yeah. So for the recruitment process, the applications tend to open in October, but I didn't submit mine until March. So that kind of gave me time to really like send through like maybe some of my UCAS applications, and their deadlines around January. So you've got like loads of time to like send in your application to the university. I would recommend like sending it in as early as possible if you know a degree apprenticeship is what you want to do. Loads of time to like send in your application to the university. I would recommend like sending it in as early as possible if you know a degree apprenticeship is what you want to do. Send it as close as you can to like the October, once it starts like opening up in October. In terms of what it was like for me, like the application process is quite similar to UCAS. So like a lot of your teachers will be able to help you with that. I kind of tailored my personal statement a bit more towards some of the work experience that I did and tried to really highlight that as opposed to just the academic side of stuff. And then after I did the university interview, I probably found out that I passed that like after a couple months, which was like around like maybe April, May-ish. And then I didn't really hear for like the first interview with the businesses because it takes quite a long time for like them to send your applications to like all the ones like that are on the placement list and stuff. So I didn't find that out until the summer, and I had a lot of the job interviews set up quite quickly after then, like a couple of weeks after each other in the summer then. And yeah.
Thank you, Aisha. So same to you, Angel. Can you just talk through the recruitment process and how it was for you? And also, when did they tell you that you got your first interview?
Okay, so I think I had the interview like at the start of the year, and then you get back from just get sent back from Network 75, just saying, you know, we're gonna submit your CV or your profile to other companies, and then you wait for them to get back to you. I think it was like around May time. I think I've got my first call set in interview, which was really exciting. And then as the summer goes on, you start to have a few more interviews. I think I had 3 altogether, and then you get the chance to go to your interviews, and then you sort of have feedback. And they get in touch with Network 75 with the feedback from the interview, and they'll either give you the opportunity if you want to join or not, or they'll just give you, I don't know, any advice on how the interview went. And then you sort of get a chance then to, if you have a couple of interviews and they all want you, they all want to employ you, then you get a chance to pick which which company you would like to go to, which was really nice to have that option. Obviously, I think, like Kira said before, you need to research the company so you know which one you want to go to. So yeah.
Thank you, Angel. And Kira?
As far as I can remember, I think I had my Network 75 interview in the February, March, and then I had 3 interviews from companies come through in maybe the early June, and they were all quite close together as well, which is good because once you're in interview mode, I guess you start to gain more of an understanding of what you'd like to talk about, what you would like from the company. So going to each interview, I was like, more of an understanding of how to approach it, and which is good because you do get multiple. It's not just a one-trick pony. As I say, it's not just one company, and Network 75 does offer the variety to explore multiple companies before you make your final decision and before you get approvals through. I think I remember I had my interview with my host company, and the next day I had the acceptance through from Network 75 saying that, well, would I like to confirm my position with the company? So it was really fast moving, which was great.
That's great. Thank you, Kira. So I'm going to move on now to the next question. So does the workload ever get too stressful? So does balancing, your work placements and your university commitments get stressful? And do you have any tips, to overcome that? So I'll come to you first, Aisha.
Yeah, not really, because I feel like the way that the degree apprenticeship is planned, like they take a lot of the stress out for you. Like I'm doing the business and management degree, and because we're doing it part-time, like you've only ever got like 4 modules a year, and I find that a lot more manageable than if I was having to do like the full 6 modules like the full-time students. And also like work is really understanding about the fact that like you're a student and that you'll have like your assignments and things, and like Network 75 also helped to alleviate that stress with like 6 days like annually of like study leave, and I utilize that a lot. So one of the tips that I kind of use, like if I've got like a big assignment coming up, is like the week leading up to it, we're usually in term time, so you've got like your 2 days of university already to focus on it, and then usually I just use like the 3 days of study leave to like take the rest of the work days off, and then I've got like a whole week just to focus on it, and that helps me like manage my workload a lot better. But also like if you are finding it overwhelming, speak to your lecturers or speak to your line manager in work and like see what they can do to help you like manage it a lot better. And I think just having that open communication, not being afraid of that, because they are really understanding.
Thank you, Aisha. Kira, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I'd say in the very beginning for me, I'd always been really terrible at time management. So initially I was like, oh, working, uni, how is this going to work out when I'm so awful at planning my time and studying? But it worked out really well with the 3 days work, the study day, and then the uni day. And my only tip would be like really utilize your study day. Don't think of it as, oh, it's a day off. I can I can do whatever I like. Make sure you treat it as another university day and get all your studies done that day, your pre-lecture work that you need to do, and any work post-lecture. Is a really great thing about Network 75 is having that study day. And then also, I guess, being in the company and in the industry, work are so helpful with all our assignments and everything. They offer all materials to help us. They have sit-down meetings with us and think, how can we help you on this assignment? Which is, you can't fault. It's amazing.
Thank you, Kira. And we've actually just been joined now by 2 other students, current students who were having difficulties joining the session earlier. So I'd like to introduce them to you all. So firstly, I'll come to you, Elliot, if you can introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Elliot Davis. I am in my 2nd year of the Network 75 scheme. I'm currently doing a mechanical engineering course, and I'm currently placed at Crane Process Flow Technologies in Cwmbran. I'm currently there now, so I apologize for any cleaners in the background. I'm currently having to stay late to do this. Yeah, and I'm loving life, so yeah.
Thank you, Elliot. And Chloe.
Hi, I'm Chloe, and I'm working for UK Windows and Doors Group, and I'm in my 4th year now, and I'm studying marketing management.
Thank you, Chloe. Thank you, Elliot and Chloe, for joining, and I'm sorry about the technical issues that we had earlier on. Okay, but it's great that you could join us. So moving back then to our pre-submitted questions. So one of the questions we were actually asked was, out of 10, how much would you rate the university? So firstly, I'll come to you, Aisha.
Honestly, like I would say like a 10 out of 10, because the Network 75 team are really supportive. I know I can always go to them if I ever have a query with uni, and the same with work. Like my host company's been really nurturing. They've given me some really great opportunities. Like, for example, now in my current role, like I'm able to do like robotics and AI, and even though like I'm a business and management student, that opportunity came up through work, and they gave me the place and trained me, so like I was able to learn new skills that way, and I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I didn't have Network 75. So yeah, that's kind of what I would say for that.
Thank you, Aisha. Chloe, I'll come to you next. So out of 10, how much would you rate USW?
Yeah, I agree. I think I'd give it a 10 as well. Both with Network 75 and like my lecturers and course leader, they've all been like amazing so far. I've had some like challenging times throughout these years that I never would have expected, and they've always been there, and I know I can help as well as my workplace as well. So yeah.
Great, thank you, Chloe. And Elliot?
Interesting. I'd say a good 8 out of 10. I had low expectations going to the university. The only reason I was going to the university was because it was a part of the course itself. As on the scheme we're on, we don't particularly get a choice. But I was incredibly surprised when I went there. They are very supportive. The staff there are very nice. The standard of the lecturers, I was very surprised at. And they were very, very supportive. 8 out of 10. The only problem is so far away. If only it could be closer. But apart from that, that's not a problem. It's great.
Great, thank you, Elliot. We'll move through the questions. I won't pose them to you all at the moment because we are getting some questions come through live on the chat. So did you have any work experience before beginning the scheme? So Elliot, I'll come to you for this one.
I did. I'd say it was some sort of work experience. The thing that I benefited from the most was I did a little summer placement where I went to USW because I wanted to try out all the, I'm doing a mechanical engineering scheme. I wanted to try out all the engineering schemes before I properly joined and properly narrowed down. That was really beneficial. It also gave me an insight into the Network 75 scheme. I did a little bit of work experience, and really that sort of just highlighted to me that I do enjoy working in a work-based environment, but I'm not ready to go full-time yet. So yeah, I would say go for it, see if you enjoy it somewhat. If you're liking the balance, look for a part-time course. But if you at this point aren't looking to be in a workplace environment, perhaps a normal degree would be more suited to you. Yeah, so it's definitely worth a try.
Thank you, Elliot. And Angel, I'll come to you next. Did you have any work experience before starting Network 75?
So I had work experience when I was 16 with the council and the planning and regeneration department in Sardis in Pontypridd. I think from then I knew that I wanted to go straight into work because I really enjoyed working in the industry, and I think it is a long, it's a long couple of years when you're in school, and I think when you get to uni, you can be a bit fed up of everyday learning, and I think that the work experience is a nice break from that. And the whole point of Network 75 is learning while you work, so they both go really really well together. And I just thought, when I was on my work experience, everyone they had degrees, and they were doing really well. And I just knew that I needed to get a degree somehow, but I also wanted to work in the industry, and I think Network 75 was just perfect for that.
Great, thank you, Angel. So I'm going to move now to some of the questions that we've had come in live. So one of the questions we've received is, what did your families think of Network 75 before you applied, and what do they think now? So Kira, can I come to you first?
Yeah, absolutely. I distinctly remember the conversation when I first found out about Network 75. I told my family, they were like, well, what's the catch? I was like, nothing. It's literally work, earn money, go to uni, have your host company pay your fees, have 5 years experience. And I was not that psyched, and they were like dumbfounded. They'd never heard of anything like it. And I remember when my sister was time for her to come to uni, they were like, oh, is there any courses that might suit Casey on Network 75? And I was like, but there wasn't at the time. I'm sure Network 75 will expand and grow because that's the way it's heading. But they were just, yeah, amazed by how you can work and earn all at once.
Great, thank you, Kira. Aisha.
Yeah, so for me, it was weird how I kind of stumbled onto Network 75. I'd never heard of them before. And I was currently in sixth form at the time, and they came to speak at our college or school. Yeah, so that's when I heard about Network 75. So I went onto their website, tried to like figure out what courses that they had. Initially, I was going to do like a normal full-time degree, but after that talk, they really convinced me to do a degree apprenticeship. So I actually withdrew my UCAS application at the time. Took 2 years to like really figure out what it is that I wanted to do. Went back to college, did some more A-levels, got some more work experience, and then decided to apply for Network 75. And initially, like, my family were like, why are you going to do a degree apprenticeship? No one had really heard of them at that time. They weren't that popular. People had like stigma attached to it. But I was like, you know, whenever can you say that you're going to get 5 years of work experience? And I, like, as soon as you get out of that, yeah, it's 5 years. But once I'm graduated, I'm going to have a degree. I'm going to have 5 years of experience behind me. I'm going to be ahead of people even who graduated earlier than me, just because of how much work experience I'm going to get. And yeah, they became really convinced with it. And similar to Kira, like my brother now, like he's doing a degree apprenticeship as well. And it's because like we've been able to have these conversations and tell them the positive experiences of degree apprenticeships, that they really like change their mind about it.
Thank you, Aisha. So I'm going to move on now to one of our next questions that has come in live. So would you recommend Network 75 to your friends or family? So I'll come to you, Chloe, for this one.
Yeah, I would. It was actually my friend who recommended it to me. I went to full-time uni before this, and I just didn't like it. It wasn't for me. So I dropped out, took some time out, and then it was my friend who recommended it for me. So I think it worked for me, and I would recommend it. I recommend it to my family as well. So
great, thank you, Chloe. Elliot.
I would definitely recommend it, but I would only recommend it to certain individuals. It isn't an easy ride. There is a bit of expectation put on you. You're at a company, so if anyone has ambition and wants to get that experience, then I would recommend it to them. Yeah, it isn't for everyone, but if you're ambitious enough, I would say, yeah, I would recommend it.
Thank you, Elliot. Okay, so moving on to our next question then. So what are your plans and ambitions after you have graduated from Network 75? I'll come to you for this one, Angel.
It's quite funny because I had this conversation today with my manager, which was all good. So myself and Kira, they've basically been told they were going to be kept on after we graduate. They've actually employed us a year earlier than they were supposed to. I think they just decided that they're going to eventually take us on, so why not do it earlier, which was really nice. And I know a few more people that have happened to as well. So they say it's like a 99% employability rate. Well, you know, it actually is, because it's happened to myself and Kira, and it's happened to other students as well who are like in their 4th or final year. So yeah, I think once we graduate, obviously we go to full time, and your pay goes up, and all the good stuff, you know, happens. And you've got a degree as well, and all the hard work is paid off. And I think that because your host company has been there with you from the start, they're just as happy and excited as you are, and they're really supportive as well. So it's like an achievement all around. It's lovely.
I think my plans have really changed since joining Network 75. Like initially, like I came in to do business and management, so I started looking at like a project management role, and my role kind of changed and worked alongside that. And I worked in their change team for like 2 years, and then the opportunity came up to do this like robotics training and start building like virtual robots and stuff to do our processes. And that kind of naturally led to me wanting to pursue more of a role in tech. So I think thanks to like the different placements that I've had in my degree, I've been able to like see that I want to go into like another type of industry. That's a growing team at my host company. So yeah, we'll see what happens in a year's time, but that's kind of where I'm heading at the minute.
That's great. Thank you, Aisha. So I'm going to move now on to the next question we've received. So what has been your proudest or most memorable Network 75 achievement to date? Okay, so I'll come to you, Chloe, if that's okay.
Oh, this is quite a hard one. There's so many like different things. I think I originally started as a business management student, and then I decided to specialise in going to marketing. And it was the first time I've ever really done a marketing role. And I joined the marketing department just as we started like rebranding all of our different divisions. So I managed to like start the whole social media up for them completely new and run all 5 different divisions social media. So that was quite a good moment to watch it grow. And just knowing I'm doing well in my grades, in my assignments, and like working towards what I want to graduate as, I think that's quite a proud moment as well.
Great, thank you, Chloe. I'll come to you, Kira. So what has been your proudest or most memorable Network 75 achievement to date?
Well, actually, me and Angel have had quite a unique experience with Network 75, as our original host company did go under as such, and straight away we went into full panic mode. We're like, oh, what's going to happen? You know, we can't continue our degree, we're not going to get paid, we're not going to be able to finish. And we went straight to Network 75. They sat us in the office, give us a coffee. They were like, calm down, it's all going to be okay. And funnily enough, our old boss from the company we were originally with set us straight up with the company we're with now. They employed us straight away, and to be honest, it was a blessing in disguise. We're in a much better position now. And thankfully to Network 75, the transition was so smooth, and we were straight back into work in less than a month. It was brilliant. And now we've actually been in this new company longer than we were in the first company. So yeah, it all worked out for the best, and Network 75 could not have been any more helpful. So that's probably my most memorable moment of being on the scheme.
Thank you, Kira. And Elliot, can I come to you next?
That is definitely a tough question. I think one of the proudest moments was when I really felt like an integral part of the team that I'm a part of, and because there's potential for me to go to a different department and to move around the company. That's always an opportunity with Network 75, and just to hear my manager like not want me to leave. I shouldn't say it too loud because he's behind me. Him saying that he didn't want me to leave because I was quite useful to the department. It was quite a heartwarming moment. Definitely there was a turning point where I felt like quite a burden because you're constantly learning and you're constantly picking up stuff you can't contribute. But then there'll become a point where you're pretty much a team member then. And it's quite nice to gain that responsibility and not like have to rely on anyone. So yeah, I feel like I'm having proudest moments all the time. It's nice. It's always getting better and better.
That's great. Thank you, Elliot, and great to hear that. Okay, so moving on now to the next question. So someone has asked, have you experienced any consequences to your social life doing a part-time degree and work? So I'll come to you, Angel, if that's all right.
So before I started Network 75, I was working in Tesco's part-time. I think I was like 17, 18. And I found my social life was worse then because I couldn't go out on a Saturday or a Friday because I was working. Whereas with Network 75, obviously you have the weekends off, so you can socialise. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but where sometimes I'd have a study day, I'd go up the night before to like the student, something Cardiff, or what they call it, the Randy Dragon in True Forest and stuff like that. I did used to go out then and obviously study the next day, but you do have like the opportunity to socialize and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I haven't felt like I have missed out on socially at all, really. No.
Thank you, Angel. Chloe?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I go out on the weekends like normal, and obviously you've still got your annual leave, so if you do want to go on holidays or like any events, like you still use that as normal. So I really don't think I still go out with all my friends who was just students, and I don't miss out on anything really.
Great, thank you, Chloe. Okay, so moving on now to the next question. So can you describe Network 75 and your experience on the scheme so far in just one word? Okay, so another tricky question there, so I'll give you all a second to have a think about it. And I'll come to you first, Aisha.
To describe it in one word, I would just say awesome, I guess. It's been pretty cool so far, like kind of like what Elliot was saying, like being able to like take on new responsibilities, being able to like, they literally like, you know, they treat you like one of them. They don't just see you as a student, like they see you as someone who has a lot to offer, and like, yeah, it's just been an awesome experience so far. So that's how I describe it.
Thank you, Aisha. Kira, how would you describe it?
Lucky would probably be my word. I'd say I feel really lucky and privileged to be able to be on such a scheme where you work and earn such an experience, because so many of my friends go to uni and have gone, now I can't get a job, I don't know what to do. But there's none of that with Network 75, so yeah, I feel really lucky.
Great. Chloe, how would you describe it?
I think I'd say maybe motivating. I always feel really motivated to try to do well in my grades, and looking up to my managers and my colleagues around me, it makes me want to be able to work to their standard and get a high, nice job that I like. So I think it really does motivate me and push me to work harder.
Great, thank you, Chloe. Okay, so another question that we've received is from someone who is currently in year 12 studying A-levels. So just want you guys just to think back to, you know, when you were in either your first year of college or, you know, your first year of A-levels. And they've asked, you know, is there anything that they can do that will help them with their application? So just thinking back to, you know, when you were back in year 12 or in your first year of college, is there anything that you wished you had done that would have helped with your application for Network 75? So I'll come to you first, Aisha.
So you're in year 12, so you've got like 2 years to really think about what you want to put on your CV. So I would say like take some of the opportunities like that your college or high school might be giving you. Like one of the things that I did was like be like sixth form head girl, or be on the student council or something. Maybe try to get like a part-time job like during like the Christmas period. If you're feeling, it depends, like you got to kind of evaluate like your CV, what it looks like now. For like any type of degree apprenticeship, the main thing that they want to look at is that you can balance work experience alongside your studies. So try to find a couple opportunities that can give you work experience, whether that's with your high school and college or by looking for like a part-time job. And then depending on what type of route you want to take, try to make it career focused. Like one of the things that I did was like for business and management, there was like a trading competition where you had to set up like your own pop-up business with a group of people. So you could say that you learned like teamwork skills, leadership skills, but also skills related to business management, and then you can link that to your studies. And yeah, I was kind of go about it that way.
Thank you, Aisha. That was a really comprehensive answer. I think, you know, that's hopefully given them everything that they, you know, they need to work with. So that's great. Thank you. So next question then that we've received is, what additional support do you get from the team within Network 75? So Chloe, I'll come to you.
I just know that they'll always be there if I need any, if I've got any problems or issues. Or even just like in my personal life, it doesn't have to do with my company or my uni work. I've always been able to go to them, and they've been there and they've supported me and been able to help me and be supported through work. They make sure that I am getting the support I need or anything like that. So I think they've been really helpful and more supportive than you might think. It's not just like when you're on the placement, that you've got your job and your uni, like they're there no matter what, even if it's not to do with Network 75 kind of.
Great, thank you, Chloe. Elliot, I'll come to you next.
The people in the Network 75 office are lovely. I know they're on the call right now. I'm sure they're smiling. I think it's. I recently had the needed to go on a a call with one of my lecturers, and they offered me the opportunity to use one of their rooms so I could have it in private, so I wasn't amongst everyone in the library. And it was they are very considerate, and they're willing to go the extra mile. So if you have any problems, if you are on the course, they are a friendly face. So yeah, I can't say enough about them. They're very nice.
Thank you, Elliot. That's great. Okay, so moving on now to the next question that we've received. So how hard is it to be accepted onto the scheme? So before I hand over to the students, I will just say that we do have a competitive recruitment process. So obviously, once you've submitted your application to us, if we like your application, it's a strong application, we'll invite you in for an interview at the university with the Network 75 team. And then following that, then if you're successful, we will submit your application to companies for their consideration. And then it's down to the companies then to shortlist the applicants, that they want to interview. So we do have a thorough recruitment process. So obviously, take your time over your application. Make sure that, it's a strong application, because this is not just coming to us at the university. It will also be sent to companies as well. So you need to use it as an opportunity to really sell yourself, essentially. So obviously, it is competitive, and, some years we have higher applications for some subject areas than others. And it can vary from course to course, depending on, the number of applications we receive. But, I'd always advise, if you, like the sound of Network 75, it is additional to UCAS. It's separate to UCAS, so you can still apply through UCAS, and you can apply separately to Network 75. So you're just giving yourself an additional option. So I would always advise, don't hesitate, just put in an application, and, make sure that application is strong, proofread, similar to what you would do with your UCAS application. So that's what I would say, but I will hand over to one of the students now to just sort of give their experiences of, the recruitment process. So I'll come to you, Chloe, because I know you didn't have a chance to answer this question earlier. So, how was the recruitment process for you?
So I obviously I recruited, I put my CV in. I think it was such a long time ago. I think I waited, I don't think the wait was that long really before I had to apply, and then I went in for my interview. But it was quite relaxed. I feel like even though it is an interview with the Network 75, it is still nice, and they are friendly, and it is more of like a nice conversation. It's not too much pressure. And then I went on a few different interviews I think I went on 2 before I went for the one that I done for my company. And it was kind of nerve-wracking going for interviews, but I think if you just stay calm, do research about the companies, and just answer and be as confident as you can, I think that's the best you can do, really. It wasn't too bad. When I did hear back from the company that I'm with now, I heard exactly on the same day that I got the job, so that was quite reassuring that I didn't have to wait too long. And I think I had feedback from my other ones as well that I didn't get, so you know where to improve and why you didn't get, kind of say, so like kind of left. Because I know a lot of jobs these days, you apply for them and you don't even hear back, which is kind of like annoying and frustrating, and you don't know like why. So it was good to have feedback as well.
So moving on to our next question then. So what are you most looking forward to about your remaining time on the scheme and beyond? I'll come to you, Kira, for this one.
Well, I've actually only got 8 weeks left, I think it is. So I'm most excited to finish in education and never looking at it again. But most excited to see where my career progresses, probably, because so many doors have been opened already, and obviously me and Angel, like she said, we've been taken on a year early, so it seems like the only way is up for like so far within our host company. And I already look at, how I can transfer my skills abroad, looking at Australia job roles, And they are keen for people in the industry to move abroad, and they are calling out for it. So I'm excited to expand my horizons, I guess, after graduating.
Thank you, Kira. And Aisha, so what are you most looking forward to about your remaining time and beyond?
So I've got like a year and a bit left now, so this kind of gives me, what's kind of nice about it is that your third year gets split into 2 years. So unlike full-time students where they only have the 1 year to think about like what jobs they want to go for, like having to apply and things like that, like I can kind of take my time and have a look now. So I like that, and like it gives me time to really explore like the technology field, because currently I'm doing business and management, so seeing how I can go into that space. So over the next year or so, similar to like that student who asked the question about being in year 12, I'm kind of in that position again where I'm having a look at my CV, seeing what other experience I might need to add, and also, yeah, just kind of taking my time to look through like job opportunities, grad opportunities, because you get them as well, because you've got your degree, you can go for grad schemes too, so it's not just about the offers from the company. So yeah, that's a really good thing about the degree apprenticeship.
Thank you, Aisha. So the next question that we've received is, can you apply to more than one course? And I'll answer this one. So yes, you can. So on the Network 75 application form, there's a section that asks you what courses you wish to study. And then if you want to study more than one course, then you will need to rank them in your order of preference. So you'll have your first choice, and then your second and your third choice. So obviously your second and your third choice are optional choices. Okay, now I always say to students, okay, that your application should be very tailored to the course or the subject area that you're applying for. So just err on the side of caution when you are applying for multiple subjects. So for example, within business, we offer business and management, we offer marketing, we offer HR and logistics. So obviously they're all business related subjects. So if you did apply for 3 courses, you could still make your application very business focused. Whereas if you applied for law, computing and engineering, those are very, very different subjects, and it would be very difficult to keep your application clear and concise and focused on the subject area that you are interested in. Okay, so just something to bear in mind. So you can order them in your list of preference, but just something to bear in mind if you are going to apply for more than one course. Okay, so we've also had a question as well about how do you apply for the summer placement with USW, and I think this is following on for what Elliot mentioned earlier. Now, I'm not quite sure what Elliot got involved in. I think it may have been the EESW project potentially, or another summer school. Yeah. Yep. So we do offer summer schools at USW. They're not run every single year. But the best thing to do would just be to keep an eye on our website, because if any opportunities come up, they will go on our website and you'll be able to apply that way. But it's not just USW that offer summer schools. It's a range of universities across the UK. So even if you went to a summer school at a different university, that experience would still be relevant to put on your Network 75 application. Okay, so don't just think about USW. There are other universities as well that do offer these summer schools, and that's very relevant experience for whatever university you apply to, or if you apply to Network 75. Elliot, do you want to expand on, the summer school that you attended or the placement?
I can only speak about engineering, but I thought that was incredibly beneficial, and probably I should have been a bit more open-minded when I went into it. I knew that I wanted to do mechanical, and I just wanted to just look at the other engineering courses to see if they sparked any of my interests. USW's, to pick up at USW, most of the summer schools are specific to that course only. So if you're doing, I don't know, mechanical engineering summer school in another university, you won't have the opportunity to look at other departments. But I especially enjoyed USW's because it gave you a whole view of the engineering department. It was also quite good because even if you're not sure if you go to the university and you see what it's like. I know some people had like trial lectures and stuff like that, and if they felt out of place, they knew that the university wasn't for them, or it's just a good taster and a good insight into what uni life could possibly be like. So I recommend it a ton.
That's great, thank you, Elliot. We've had another question come in relating to your experience as well, Elliot. How did that opportunity, how was it promoted to you? How did you find out about the opportunity? Because this individual who's asked the question actually wants to do mechanical engineering as well. So how did you find out about it? Yeah.
I found out about it in two different ways. One, it was plastered all over my sixth form. Secondly, you called it an ESW summer school. I went on this project, which was a part of it, and they were promoting it the entire time. But it's quite easy to access it. It's just on the website. And yeah, I don't think there are any grade requirements. I know there's one similar for Swansea, and Swansea offers a similar program. So if you can't make it onto the USW one because of dates, go to the Swansea one. I'm sure it'll be just as nice. And they feed you for a couple of days. You get to stay in like a nice room for a couple of days, you know, get out of the house. It was lovely.
Thank you, Elliot. Yes, so perhaps, you know, you might want to speak to, you know, your head of sixth form, or if you're in college, then maybe one of your college tutors, to find out if there are any opportunities, you know, to go to a summer school at, you know, any university really. Okay, so we're coming now towards the end of the session. So another question has come in. So is there an age limit for applying to Network 75? So I will answer this. So no, we don't have an upper age limit. You know, we've had students in the past who have worked in industry for a number of years and they really want to progress, you know, and, you know, move up in the company, and they have come and studied via Network 75 to do that, you know, and they could be in their 30s. So, you know, we don't have an upper age limit, and we do accept mature students. Okay, so the last question then that I would like to ask all of the students before we finish for today is there any advice that you would give someone hoping to start Network 75? And I'll come to you first, Kira, if that's okay.
My advice would be just to utilise all the material you have around you, all the resource from your host company down to Network 75, being supportive. Even the lecturers are really supportive in USW. Funny enough, I just had a phone call from one of my lecturers asking me how my dissertation's getting on. So it's just very personal. Everyone, all the staff are lovely in our department, and I bet the other students can say the same. But yeah, make sure you use your host company to the full advantage, get all the information that they have, and help you progress in your career as well.
Thank you, Kira. And Aisha, I'll come to you next. So what advice would you give someone hoping to start Network 75?
I would say, like, don't just look at the degree page on USW, also look at Network 75's placement page, because they'll have a bunch of like host companies underneath the different degrees, and I think that they're constantly like adding new ones like during that year. So have a look at that, see if you're interested to work for those companies as well, because it's not just your degree, but you've also got to see like if the company would be a fit for you as well. Like culture is a huge thing, like, so yeah, I would say keep an eye on that placement page, because it does they do continually add to it in the year.
Thank you, Aisha. Angel, I'll come to you next.
Yeah, so myself and Kira, the host company we're with now, they weren't part of Network 75. So we basically went to the company and asked them would they like to be part of the 75 scheme as one of the host companies for us, really. So if there's a company that you would like to join and you think would be a good fit for you, you know, it could be worth asking them if they wanted to be part of Network 75 host companies, you know, for yourself, so you can join. And I also think that when you have your interviews or you go to a company, ask them questions too, see what they can offer you and how you can progress there. Because it's really important for you as well, because 5 years, as much as it's flown by for us, you're there to progress, and you want to get the most out of it. So you want to make sure that the company do really look after you and support you.
Thank you, Angel. Elliot, I'll come to you next.
Not to disagree with what everyone said here, but I think you should keep an open mind when joining the course. I had no idea of the company that I was joining. I had an interview for them. I still didn't know what company I was joining, but I came and I've loved it ever since. It's wherever you go, you'll find incredibly nice people. I think you'll learn a lot. The reason that these companies are there is because they've proven to show a level of standard that they're gonna teach you all you need to know in the industry. So keep an open mind. And I know that when I went through the process, I specifically asked for a certain company that was on the website. I didn't end up getting an interview at that place, and I'm glad for it because I've ended up here. So yeah.
Thank you, Elliot. And last but not least, Chloe.
I think I'd say just to make the most of any and all opportunities that you may come across, and to enjoy as well, because it goes fast. It's faster than you may think. So make sure that you do enjoy it, and to have a good work-life uni balance, because that is important as well.
Thank you, Chloe. So we've now come to the end of our live Q&A session, and I want to thank you all for attending this evening. And I hope it's been a really informative session for you all, and you've got your questions answered. If there is anything that you didn't get the opportunity to ask during this session, obviously just drop us an email and a member of the team will get in contact with you. So I'd also like to give a massive, massive thanks to our amazing panel of students this evening. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know you're all really busy, but it's so valuable for prospective students to hear firsthand from you, because you are the ones who are currently studying via Network 75. So sharing your experiences is, a great way for our, prospective students to find out exactly what it is like to study via Network 75. So thank you so much for taking the time. It's been really useful and informative for me as well, and I'm sure for the audience that attended today. So yeah, again, thank you to everyone who joined this evening. This session will be recorded. It has been recorded. So if you would like a copy of the recording, if you'd like to listen over anything that's been covered this evening, then just get in touch and let us know, and we can share the recording with you. So thank you all again, and we look forward to receiving your applications.